Hey everyone, it's Don with Don's Field of Dreams Cards. Making a cigar-worthy video today, although it is too frickin' cold to go outside and smoke this thing, so I'm just gonna hold it as a prop. So this video is for my friend Mike Moynihan, baseball collector, and many of you probably know, he hit 5,000 subs, and he wanted us to make a video explaining what the community means to you and who has influenced you. And so what does this community mean to me? In two words, everything and friendship. And when I say everything, I'm talking about everything that the hobby part of my life pertains to. My hobby endeavors have been so enriched by YouTube. I've said on many videos that I started making YouTube videos to meet other YouTubers, to get involved. I was jealous of guys interacting. Sounds kind of lame for, at the time, for a guy that was 53 years old, 55 now, that I'm looking for YouTube friends, looking at cardboard. But that's how I really felt. I watched these videos and was just like, you know, here's the broken record. You guys have heard this a million times. We all don't have any friends that collect. So we went on YouTube and yada, yada, yada. You know, you've heard the story, but it's the same with me. And the second part is friendship. And today's an example. Went to Cleveland today, a 2-hour drive, picked up Dean Gearhart. I collect everything. Picked him up at his house, drove 2 hours up, just bullshitted the whole time. Got there, looked at cards, you know, knew Scott Randier Studios was going to be there. Ran into Scott, we looked at some more cards. You know, hey, let's go to lunch. Went to lunch, you know, just sat there and BS'd and dropped him off. And then I took Dean home and he's like, hey, you want to come in and see my card room? And I was like, of course. And went in and, you know, honestly, that's the first card room I've ever seen, and enjoyed it thoroughly. And that's what I was looking for out of YouTube. My gosh, how much fun did I have today? You know, it was awesome. You know, I picked up a couple cards today, and I'm very happy with them. But if Dean wasn't going up there, if Scott wasn't going to be there, there's no way in hell I was hopping in a car and driving 2 hours by myself to look at baseball cards. It's just the way it is. And but you know, originally Dean's like, hey, you going to that show? And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to go to that show. And then I found out my wife was going to be away today, and she's like, why don't you go? And then I texted Scott, and he's like, I'll be there. And Dean's like, all right, yep, pick me up. And then I found out later that Dean was kind of like, nah, I'm probably not going to go, until he's like, you texted me, and let's go. So I'm going to ramble a lot here. I've probably already rambled, and I don't typically make long videos, but this one may be long. And I'm going to mention a lot of guys on here that I've gotten to meet. And I'm going to forget a lot of guys on here too. And I'm going to apologize to you right now, because I don't have notes here. And I'm going to post this video, and it's going to have mistakes on it like all my videos do. I always screw something up. But that's okay. That's who I am. That's how my videos roll. So what this YouTube community has meant to me is I've met so many awesome dudes in person. You know, at the National last year, I mentioned Scott and Dean. I've met those guys 3 times now. I met them both at the National. I met them both at the Pittsburgh show I think it was in September. Met them again today. Not met them, but met up with them again today. Bob Lewis lives here in Pittsburgh. Met Bob and his dad last year at the show, the Pittsburgh show. And maybe about a month ago, I was like, hey, let's go to lunch, and you can't blow me off, and I'm paying. Not that that matters. It's just that was kind of how I threw it out to him. And I don't think we talked about cards at all. We talked about other YouTubers. We ripped on a bunch of you guys, but that's how we roll. But you get to know these guys personally, and things that I don't share with everyone, other guys don't share with everyone, but we share with each other. And it's more than the cards. And, the National this year, honestly, if I didn't buy a card, I'd be okay with that. I mean, I'm rooming with 6 other YouTubers who we text daily. A couple of them have mentioned it on here. And I kind of sabotaged these guys. I think it was John Mangini and Lou Rock and James Elite Hunters. And I think they kind of had a text thing going. And I said, excuse me, hey guys, any interest in getting an Airbnb? And I kind of swindled my way in. And then we realized we had room for more people. And then we got Rick Oddball Cards on board. And then we peer pressured George, who was like, that's far from Arizona. And we're like, Rick's coming from California. So we beat him up and we convinced him to come. And then Bob Lewis was, I saw in the chat, he's like, I'm going to take the bus over to Atlantic City. And I'm like, brother, I live 20 minutes from you, man. Like, come ride with me. And then Scott Reindeer Studios was like, hey, can I ride with you? And then, Jake gave me a call. He's like, hey, can I ride with you? And I'm like, do you realize Pittsburgh is not near Philadelphia? And he's like, hey, I don't mind. I'll fly in and ride with you guys. And it's like, I watch videos every day. And there's so many guys on here, it may sound weird and, I met this guy on the internet and I'm going to pick him up and drive to Cleveland, But, as y'all know, it is what it is. It's what we do and how we get to know each other. And, man, so many, like I mentioned, those guys on the the text chat, they're not necessarily influenced me, but they become really good friends. And I've only met half of them in person. I haven't met the other half yet. And a ton of other guys, there's so many guys I want to meet. Like, I've grown as watching these channels too. The first time I saw Pepino Man, I was like, this is the most ridiculous channel I've ever seen. And then he did a video. A friend of his passed away. Excuse me. And I think he had given him a package and he hadn't opened it. And it was a baseball bat from this buddy of his who passed away. And I saw the real Caesar, the real Pepino. Like, he was so touched and moved. Like, it almost teared you up watching. Like, this was a good friend of mine and he gave me this bat. And I don't remember who it was from. And he even mentioned it in his video from like, sometimes people just look at me as this jokester. And I got to meet Caesar last year at the National. And, there's so much to all of us that are not on these videos. Because you can't get to know us. We're showing our best sides, our best cards. We all got stuff going on. And it's great to talk to each other through these videos and getting to meet these guys. And, again, I'm going to repeat, and I already am rambling, but I'm going to continue to ramble. The more you put into this, the more you get out of it. And, there's a guy, Greg, his channel, I always mess it up, but it was like GW573 or 575. And he mentioned once, he's like, man, no one watches my videos, no one cares. And he had great videos, but he didn't really interact. He didn't get in chats. He didn't comment a lot on people's videos. And recently I went on his channel and all his videos are gone. And that's a shame. Because I think he wanted to be more involved in the community. And I really don't know him. I don't know his situation. Maybe work, family, he just was too busy. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. YouTube didn't take over his life, or he didn't have the time to commit to it. And I get that. But, you go on people's live chats, and not their live chats, their live videos. And that's what I enjoy the most, actually, because you get to see a little bit of how the people are. And you get in the chat room and you BS and you make fun of each other and talk. So that's what YouTube has meant to me. Just bringing people into my life that enjoy what I enjoy, and seeing what you enjoy, and just, it's been said so many times, but when you meet these people, it's like you've been friends forever. I mean, to be honest, I have a fraternity brother that lives a street away. I haven't seen him in 3 years, but I've seen Scott, Dean, Bob Lewis more than I've seen him. It's funny how that works out. But as far as influencers go, like other people have said, if I watch your channel and I comment on it and I like what you put out, you've influenced me in some way. But I guess I do have to mention a couple guys specifically. First, I have to mention, and these are guys that have been mentioned a million times, and I guess they're there's a lot of Hall of Famers, but they're the guys everyone knows. And the first is Eric Those Back Pages, because Eric was the one that said, Don, just go make videos. He didn't know who I was, and he was, I showed this on my 1 year anniversary, and he probably didn't even remember it, because he wouldn't have known who I was. But I just said I was scared to make videos, and he basically just said, just go do it. And then I look at people like Terry TJ Mack. He started at the same time I did, and it's kind of like, well, how's that important? But it's kind of like we went to law school together, or we went to high school together, and we've kind of grown up in this, and that's how I feel about YouTube. It's like we've grown our channels at the same time, and just appreciate what he does, and I love what he does. And then I look at a guy like Ray from Philly, who I haven't met yet, and probably a stupid reason, but we're the same age, graduated from high school the same year, so I feel a connection to Ray. And I look at Ray, his passion for Philadelphia, and that's the passion I have for Pittsburgh. And I think, I've never met Ray in person, but I think Ray is, what you see is what you get. And that's what I love about a lot of guys on YouTube. I'm not into the gimmicks and the, all that shit. Just guys are just genuine about what they like to show with their cards and just what they're doing. Just good people. I look at Alex Bowman, 53, and Jake Ticket Leprechaun, and I know he's Legends Never Die, and I screw that up all the time. But to me, younger guys in the vintage realm, and I haven't met either one of them, and I'm hoping to meet those two guys at the National this year. But their passion for vintage and history of baseball, the history that Alex goes down, and Jake, just, his passion of almost everything vintage. He's got autographs, bobbleheads, cards. Just enjoy both of those guys tremendously. And Alex kind of taught me that the grade doesn't matter. I saw some of the cards he would buy in low grade, but the physical card was just beautiful. And there's Jim Pickers, and oh man, I'm gonna forget so many guys, but everyone's mentioned Dave Blue Jacket 66, and of course I've got to mention him. And Dave can be a little crass, and I don't know if cocky's the word, but he's got an amazing collection. We all know that, but if you show an interest, I think, with Dave, he doesn't care what your collection is, but if you care, you want to learn, you appreciate what he has. I don't know if respect's the word, but just, I feel that he's willing to teach you. Dave's been in this a long time. He was fortunate that his dad was in it, and they've been doing it for years. And he's one of those guys where I feel he doesn't care what you have, but if you're willing to learn and show an interest, Dave is more than willing to do above and beyond to teach you that. And that's what I appreciate about Dave. And next to Mike Monahan. Probably one of the first guys I started watching on YouTube. And he's probably shouted me out 2 or 3 times on his videos. He's had me on his podcast by myself. Then he had me on 3 times with George when we did the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He really rode me hard to go the national last year. Um, he didn't have to do any of that. I didn't know Mike, like I didn't know any of you guys really, but he just took a liking to my channel. As he has said many times, we collect very similarly. But kind of was like, hey Don, come on man, go to the national. You won't regret it. And about a month ago, after he shouted me out, I gave him a call just to thank him. I was like, Mike, you didn't have to do that. I appreciate it. And he asked me a question. He said, Don, isn't your collecting experience fuller and more enriched since you've gone on YouTube? And I didn't really think about it before, but I'm like, you're right. It really has. It's so much more fun to go to these events, to get a card, share a card, and you get to appreciate people. It doesn't matter if the guy spent $2 on a card or $15,000 on a card. We all can't afford what each other affords, and we can't all collect the same way. But when you see the guy's excitement, or girls, Nina S, another great YouTuber on here, you're genuinely happy for the person. And that's what I love about YouTube. And Mike, appreciate all you've done for me. You've been a big supporter of my channel, as many of you guys and girls on here have. And like I said, I was going to ramble, and I'm rambling. And man, if I miss someone that we interact with, I apologize. But just kind of thank you guys. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to more years of doing it. And as always, guys, thanks for watching my video, and I'll talk to you soon.